The movie starts with Barry Allen, who is feeling confused and unsure about something strange happening to him. He finds himself in his lab, but it's been destroyed, and everything looks just like the day he got his superpowers. Barry then ends up at a restaurant where a waitress named Iris serves him breakfast. He's surprised when she doesn't recognize him. Iris almost drops the food, but Barry quickly catches it using his super speed. Barry decides to talk to her again, and Iris tells him that she's going to stop working at the restaurant because she's been offered her dream job as a writer. Barry asks her out on a date, and she happily agrees. But just when things seem to be going well for him, Barry's situation takes a strange turn. He finds himself in a different world, caught in a battle with an android named Amazo, who is causing trouble in the city. Just as Amazo is about to defeat Barry, another speedster arrives to save him. It's Superman, who tells Barry that he should stay out of the fight while he handles the android. However, there's something Superman doesn't know about Amazo. Barry tries to warn him, but it's too late. Amazo drains half of Superman's powers, just like he did to Barry. As Amazo prepares to finish them off, a man who Barry calls Robin Hood comes to their rescue. It's Green Arrow, who helps them escape in his car. Superman is badly injured from the fight and needs immediate medical help. Instead of going to Star Labs, Superman insists they take him to a trusted friend. Barry and Green Arrow bring him to Bruce Wayne's mansion, where they are welcomed. However, things get even stranger for Barry. Suddenly, he finds himself in another world, Earth X, where he is preparing for his wedding with Iris. She tells him that he can still help people without putting his life at risk. Barry gives money to a homeless man, who warns him that the world is about to end. The man touches Barry's head, and suddenly, Barry is transported again, this time to Earth 4. On this Earth, Bruce Wayne visits Barry, bringing a child named Dick, who has lost his parents. Bruce wants Barry to take the boy to an orphanage, but Barry thinks that's not the best choice because the boy already sees Bruce as a father. Bruce argues that the dangerous life he leads isn't safe for the child. Barry then returns to Earth, where Superman is recovering at Bruce Wayne's mansion. At this point, there is no Justice League. Batman begins investigating and discovers that Dr. Anthony Evo created the android Amazo. Defeating it will be difficult, since Amazo can absorb and store supernatural energy. The next morning, Superman wakes up, and the heroes have a meeting to discuss how to stop Amazo. Superman suggests forming a team of superheroes, but Batman doesn't think it's a good idea. Still, they decide to move forward, not just with the four of them, but also by recruiting other heroes. First, they bring in Vixen, a model who wears a special necklace that lets her use any animal's abilities. Then, they recruit John Jones, an alien friend of Superman. After Green Lantern captures some bank robbers, the heroes meet him, but he refuses to join, saying he's already part of another group called the Green Lantern Corps. Superman announces to the city that a new superhero team is forming, with their headquarters at Metropolis Terminal Station. Since the idea to form a team was Flash's, Superman asks him to name it. Barry decides on the name Justice League. But just as they are celebrating, Amazo attacks again. Barry suddenly finds himself teleported to Earth 3, where Central City is in ruins. He spots a speedster robbing a bank and tries to stop him, but he quickly realizes that this world is different. The speedster tells Barry he is part of the crime syndicate, a team that controls the government. Soon, other members of the crime syndicate arrive, including Power Ring, Superwoman, Johnny Quick, and their leader, Ultraman. They're all curious about Barry and ask where he came from. Barry explains that he's from a different Earth, but they don't believe him. Superwoman uses the lasso of submission on Barry and finds out he's telling the truth. Barry is confused, as nothing in this world makes sense. How can criminals also be the government? Ultraman reveals that the crime syndicate has become so bored with their world that they now see Barry as a gift, a challenge. Now that they know about other Earths, they see endless opportunities to conquer new worlds, enslave billions, and fight for domination. They demand that Barry take them to these other Earths, and when he refuses to cooperate, they try to kill him. However, a mysterious figure, the homeless-looking man, steps in to stop them. This man is actually a powerful sorcerer named John Constantine. He warns the crime syndicate that their world is on the brink of destruction. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the Justice League is under attack by Amazo. While Flash is helping civilians escape, he hears a surprising voice from Amazo, who actually helps prevent damage to both the heroes and the people. Flash is confused. Why would an enemy care about their safety? Amazo explains that this attack is a malfunction. His primary function, created by Professor Evo, was to extend and improve human life, but Lex Luthor reprogrammed him to drain life instead. This makes Amazo an unstoppable force. Batman realizes the only solution is an airstrike, as Metropolis is about to turn into a war zone, with bombs falling from the sky. He assures the heroes that they'll evacuate the citizens first, but Flash insists there's another way. He believes the key to stopping Amazo is Dr. Evo, the android's original creator. Flash breaks Evo out of prison, where they discover that Evo is suffering from a condition called Hutchinson-Gilford syndrome, which makes him age rapidly. Years ago, Evo's colleague, Lex Luthor, suggested that Evo use his genius to prolong his life. This led Evo to create Amazo, unaware that Lex had a secret plan. Lex secretly reprogrammed Amazo for his own purposes. When Flash and Evo confront Amazo, Evo reveals that Lex's plan was a lie. Lex told Amazo that the energy it drained from the superheroes would be used to extend Evo's life, but in reality, Lex intended to use it for his own gain. Since Amazo is reprogrammed, it has no choice but to follow orders and continue its mission of draining power from the heroes. Evo tells Amazo to try using the energy it has absorbed to prolong Evo's life, but when Amazo tries, Evo dies instead. This goes against Amazo's primary purpose, to preserve life. Amazo, in anger, tries to kill Lex for deceiving him, but Flash reminds him that Evo would have wanted him to value human life. Lex is arrested, and Amazo returns the energy it took from the heroes. Next, Barry finds himself back in Earth 3, a world on the brink of destruction. Thunder and sparks fill the sky, and Ultraman and Superwoman try, but fail, to fix things. Barry considers helping, but John Constantine advises against it, saying this world is doomed. He tells Barry that he is a man who walks through doomed worlds as a punishment for something he did long ago, though he can't remember what. We then travel to another Earth, where an older Barry wakes up to a call from his wife, Iris. It's breakfast time, and Iris surprises him with his favorite dish, the same meal they shared when they first met. They celebrate their marriage anniversary, reflecting on a life full of love and no regrets. Another universe shows Barry and Iris on the day of their wedding. Just as they are about to exchange vows, a strange portal opens, and a supernatural being emerges. She introduces herself as Harbinger and tells Barry that his help is urgently needed. She explains that their world is in grave danger and that she's been sent to gather Earth's greatest champions for a mission. She teleports Barry and other powerful heroes from various Earths to a spaceship. On the ship, Batman meets a Robin from another universe, who is almost the same age as him. In this world, Batman didn't send Robin to the orphanage. Instead, he took him in and trained him as his partner. Not only that, but in this universe, Batman and Catwoman have a child named Helena Wayne. As more heroes introduce themselves, a mysterious figure named the Phantom Stranger appears and criticizes them for revealing their identities so freely. He warns them that they are being foolish. Harbinger, who brought the heroes together, then teleports more heroes onto the spaceship, including Dr. H, who complains about being abducted while in her bathrobe. Harbinger shows her a fabricator that can provide any clothing she imagines. As ordered by the Monitor, Harbinger transfers the powers of a criminal called Dr. Light to Dr. H. Next, Harbinger meets a hero named Star, who doesn't recognize her at first. Harbinger reveals her true identity as Kara, Superman's cousin, and promises to explain everything to Star later. Soon, the Monitor, an ancient being from a race that predates the universe itself, arrives. The Monitor explains that his race has always observed the universe without interfering. However, due to a threat so great it endangers all of reality, the Monitor has broken his sacred vow to never interfere. He warns the heroes that an antimatter wave, vast and destructive, is heading toward them and will destroy everything in its path. This wave has already wiped out Earth 3, and the crime syndicate, who tried to stop it, was killed in the process. That's why the Monitor has gathered the heroes, to find a way to stop this disaster and save their worlds. The Phantom Stranger interrupts the Monitor, questioning why they should trust him. He accuses the Monitor of kidnapping them and telling them a story to make them obey. Batman also questions why the Monitor mostly chose heroes from Earth for this mission. The Monitor explains that Earth is the first world in the multiverse, and if Earth falls, the other worlds will follow. The other heroes remain suspicious, but Flash, having witnessed the destruction of Earth 3, speaks up in support of the Monitor. Wonder Woman uses her lasso of truth on Flash, confirming his honesty. The heroes now realize the magnitude of the threat they face. As another Earth is destroyed before their eyes, they understand that this is not a fight they can win with strength alone. It requires scientific genius. They come up with a plan to create a shield to protect their Earth from the antimatter wave. They learn that each Earth has a massive vibrational generator, and if they can power these generators, the wave will pass through the Earths without causing damage. The Flash's speed is crucial to powering the generators. The generators are located on Earth 146, Earth 2, Earth 4, and Earth 1. As the wave accelerates toward them, the scene shifts to another universe, where an older Flash mourns the death of his wife, Iris, who passed away from a heart attack. The Flash's mission to turn on the generators is his final act to fulfill his purpose, prolonging human life. With his super speed, he powers the generators across the Earths, making them invisible to the oncoming wave. The experiment works, and the antimatter wave passes without destroying the worlds. The civilians and heroes celebrate their success, but the older Flash is saddened by the death of Amazo, who sacrificed himself to help save humanity. However, something strange happens at the end. Some of the heroes begin to vanish, as though the events they experienced had altered history, erasing their existence. At the start of the story, Batman is chasing the Joker. He throws his batarang and hits the Joker in the leg, causing him to fall. But when Batman gets closer, he's shocked to see it's not the Joker. It's actually Jim Gordon, who has been poisoned by the Joker's toxins. Batman tries to help him, but it's too late, and Jim dies. Then, Batman notices a bomb attached to Jim's body. Suddenly, the Joker shows up, holding a trigger. He presses it, and the bomb explodes. To make sure Batman can't stop him, the Joker brings two big criminals, Solomon Grundy and Killer Croc, to fight Batman. While Batman is distracted by them, the Joker's armored truck keeps going. Even though the police try to stop it by shooting at the truck, they fail. That's when the Bat family arrives. They destroy the truck and help Batman catch Solomon Grundy, Killer Croc, and the Joker. Batman tells them he doesn't need their help, but the Bat family reminds him that he trained them to do this. They also tell him the Justice League sent them to find Flash, as they think he might still be alive. Batman says Flash is dead and that they're wasting their time. Meanwhile, a man named Charles is talking to a visitor. Charles can control people's minds, but for the first time, he meets someone who can resist his powers. So, Charles decides to tell the visitor about his past. He explains that he grew up in the English countryside and had the ability to feel other people's emotions since he was a child. This made it hard for him to be around people because their emotions were too strong for him. His parents fought a lot, so they sent him to a boarding school. But things were worse there. Other kids bullied him and even beat him up. The teachers didn't help and instead punished Charles when they saw him being bullied. When Charles reached his breaking point, he used his mind control powers to make the bullies turn on each other, and they ended up killing each other. The scene changes to the Monitor's spaceship. He's traveling through space and finds the wreckage of Krypton, a planet that has been destroyed. Some of the debris hits his ship, but the ship's shields protect it. The Monitor finds a pod with Kara inside. His computer tells him Kara is dying because of kryptonite radiation. The Monitor thinks about leaving her behind, but the computer brings her aboard anyway. The Monitor decides to save her, but she loses her memory. When Kara wakes up and asks who she is and how she got there, the Monitor tells her she's from Krypton but doesn't tell her that Krypton is gone. He also says his ship can travel between different dimensions and that he belongs to a powerful species. Charles continues telling his story. He used his mind control to take over everyone at the boarding school. For 3 months, no one heard anything from the school. When the police arrived, they found the bullies and teachers hanging upside down because of Charles's powers. Later, Charles takes control of a group of soldiers and their ship, becoming a pirate, which was something he always wanted. But his ship gets destroyed in a storm. After barely surviving on a lifeboat with no food or water, Charles uses his last bit of strength to ask for help with his mind. To his surprise, soldiers from Atlantis rescue him and take him with them. Charles tries to control their king, Aquaman, but Aquaman is too strong to be controlled. Eventually, Charles succeeds and takes over Aquaman's mind, which means he can control all of Atlantis's army. Back on the Monitor spaceship, Kara is walking around and finds the same space pod that brought her there. She learns more about her planet and herself. She discovers that Krypton has been destroyed. Upset, She confronts the Monitor, asking why he didn't tell her earlier. She calls him powerful but says he failed to stop Krypton's destruction. The Monitor explains that his species doesn't interfere with natural events, but now he has no choice. He tells her about a wave of antimatter that is destroying entire universes. The Monitor asks Kara for her help in stopping the antimatter wave. To make her stronger, he shares part of his life force with her, turning her into Harb, a being who can travel across universes and gather superheroes. The scene then switches back to Charles, who is still with the visitor, who turns out to be Dr. Fate. Dr. Fate tells Charles that he has an important role to play in the coming crisis. To prepare him, Dr. Fate shares some of his power and sends Charles on an interdimensional journey. Charles ends up in a universe where he is the president, but the people are protesting against him. Just then, Harb appears and tells Charles that his name is on the list of heroes being recruited to fight the antimatter wave. She asks him to join her. Meanwhile, the antimatter wave is heading toward Earth 18. Superman detects the danger with his vision. The vibrational towers are quickly activated, saving Earth 18. However, the towers get overloaded, and Supergirl helps Superman.
Little help here? We did it.
She is very upset, feeling angry and sad about the loss of Brainiac and Krypton. Suddenly, the Monitor's image appears, telling Superman and Supergirl to return to him. On another planet, a character named Commodus is returning home. His planet also has a vibrational tower, but he doesn't want to go back because he's the only survivor. The Justice League convinces him that he is the only one who can fix the damaged tower. An ape named Solovar from Earth 1 is sent to help him. At first, Commodus attacks Solovar because apes on his planet had wiped out all humans. But Solovar assures him that he is peaceful and only wants to help fix the tower. Together, they start working. Elsewhere, Charles is in great pain. The Monitor tells him to use his psychic powers to calm the minds of people across different Earths to prevent panic. Charles says his powers aren't strong enough to affect so many people, but if the Monitor shares some of his energy, it might work. After hesitating, the Monitor agrees and gives Charles some of his energy. Meanwhile, the Justice League's think tank discovers that the antimatter wave is not a single wave, but more like a storm with many waves. This means the vibrational towers can't stop it for good, they can only delay it. The heroes come up with a big plan. They decide to search for a dimension like Neverland, where the antimatter waves can't reach. If they can move all the Earths to this dimension, they can save them from destruction. The Monitor agrees with this plan, but warns it will take a huge amount of energy. Meanwhile, Blue Beetle confronts Charles, saying he'll never trust him because Charles is a psychopath who can never change. Charles tries to control Blue Beetle's mind. Even though Blue Beetle has strong mental defenses, Charles succeeds because of the extra power the Monitor gave him. But controlling Beetle takes a toll on Charles, and he finds himself in a dark, empty space filled with blinding light. A voice speaks to him, asking why he's helping the Monitor. It offers to make him the ruler of the universe if he joins it. When Charles asks who it is, the voice says, "I am the Anti-Monitor, and for our goal to succeed, this universe must be destroyed." In different dimensions, shadow-like creatures are attacking Justice League members and Earths. These creatures can't be killed easily because they regenerate. They show up everywhere, like on Themyscira and other Earths. Batman figures out that the creatures can be destroyed with intense light. The heroes team up and use light-based attacks to fight the creatures. Elsewhere, Green Lantern John Stewart faces an old beggar who turns out to be John Constantine in disguise. At first, Stewart doesn't recognize Constantine and blames him for Earth's destruction, since he knows so much about it. They fight for a while until Stewart realizes who the beggar really is. They team up, using Constantine's magic and Green Lantern's power to create intense light, killing many of the shadow creatures. Meanwhile, Commodus and Solovar are also fighting the shadow creatures. To save Commodus, Solovar sacrifices himself, taking out many of the shadow creatures in the process. The scene shifts back to Charles aboard the Monitor's ship. Charles uses his mind control to convince Supergirl that the Monitor is her true enemy and that she must kill him. Meanwhile, the Monitor begs Charles to help the heroes fighting the shadow monsters. Charles refuses, saying he now serves a new master. The Monitor realizes that Charles has teamed up with the Anti-Monitor. At that moment, Supergirl uses her heat vision to attack the Monitor, injuring him badly, but he survives. Back on the battlefield, the heroes keep fighting the shadow creatures. Suddenly, the creatures stop retreating and combine into a huge, terrifying monster. This monster releases a powerful energy beam aimed at the heroes. At the same time, the antimatter wave gets closer to Earth again, destroying many Earths along the way. The heroes, too focused on fighting the creatures, forget to activate the vibrational towers, leaving Earth unprotected and in danger of being destroyed. The Justice League is facing a big threat as they fight a giant shadow monster. It turns out the monster is actually the Anti-Monitor, and nothing they do seems to hurt it. The Anti-Monitor gathers a huge amount of energy and gets ready to blast them all. Meanwhile, on their satellite base, Kara is upset and starts to get her emotions under control. She is shocked by what she's done, holding the burned body of the Monitor. As she holds him, his body starts glowing with powerful energy. This energy spreads out and strengthens the satellite, making it powerful enough to move the remaining worlds to a safe place, away from the Anti-Monitor's reach. Months later, the Justice League is looking through the ruins of destroyed planets, trying to find any survivors. Shiera and Earth 2's Superman find Wonder Woman from Earth 2, frozen in ice. Superman melts the ice using his heat vision and explains what happened since the Monitor's death. They tell her that the death of the Monitor pulled all the worlds into a new, unstable place called the Bleed, a space outside the multiverse. For now, the Anti-Monitor can't follow them there. But the Bleed is full of chaos, with time and space mixing up, making it hard to get resources or even trust time. On Earth 1, Lois Lane, Green Arrow, and Earth 2's Black Canary find a strange tear in space and time. Through this tear, a herd of dinosaurs appears. The heroes try to help the people nearby but are overwhelmed by the dinosaurs. Just when they think they've got it under control, more dinosaurs show up, along with a group of soldiers. These soldiers say they're lost in time and were sent to stop the dinosaurs from rampaging across the multiverse. On Earth 10, the Legion of Doom is getting worried about strange things happening on many worlds. Poison Ivy tells them a volcano has suddenly erupted, and Lex Luthor fears more disasters are coming. He reveals his plan to fix everything and goes to see Psycho Pirate, who has been locked up. Lex wants Psycho Pirate to talk to someone who he thinks is crucial for their survival.
You have a friend I'd like to talk to.
Back on Earth 2, Batman and the Bat family are investigating another strange event. Robin warns that an anomaly is heading towards the police headquarters. Soon, an army of soldiers with advanced weapons appears. Batman, Robin, Huntress, and Batman Beyond team up to stop them. The soldiers steal some dangerous chemicals, including Bane's venom and Scarecrow's fear toxin, and use them against Batman. The toxin makes Batman see an older Barry Allen, who tells him to
go back to the beginning, Bruce.
At their satellite base, the Justice League gets reports from other Earths about problems happening in their worlds. Lex Luthor shows up, angry that the Bleed is falling apart fast. He points to a tear in space near Earth 146 where the Anti-Monitor is causing destruction. As the tear gets bigger, the Anti-Monitor collects enough energy to destroy entire worlds. Unable to stop it, Aquaman asks Mr. Terrific,
"Send me home."
Mr. Terrific agrees, though he hesitates. After Earth 146 is destroyed, the Anti-Monitor pulls back his hand, and the tear closes, leaving the League in shock. Later, Batman wakes up in the medical bay after being unconscious for 10 days because of the fear toxin. Dr. Elizabeth Chapel, also known as Dr. Midnight, tells him what happened during his recovery. The Anti-Monitor has been destroying Earths in the Bleed, including Earth 88 and Earth 2112. Batman talks to Dr. Fate, who confirms that the older Barry Allen was real and that his message, return to the beginning, is important. They try to figure out what Barry's words mean for their next steps. Green Lantern John Stewart, who didn't think much of John Constantine at first, now believes Constantine could be the key to understanding what's going on. Robin suggests that Batman, as the best detective, could find Constantine, who might be somewhere on Earth 18. John Constantine is drunk, lost in his own misery, asking strangers for coins to keep drinking. The Justice League, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and Dr. Fate enter the bar, hoping to find the sorcerer. Batman figures out that the saloon has both magical energy and a lot of alcohol, which he used to track Constantine. Sadly, Constantine's mind is a mess, and he can barely remember anything, not even his own name. Dr. Fate uses his magic to help Constantine remember, and Batman helps him recall how he's connected to the multiverse and the current crisis. Suddenly, they are confronted by the Spectre, a powerful being of vengeance who represents God's will. The The group finds themselves in a memory of the Justice League Dark's victory over Darkseid during the Apocalypse War. Even though they won, Constantine convinces the Flash to go back in time to stop even worse things from happening. Flash travels to when Darkseid was a baby, thinking this is the only time the villain could be defeated. Constantine explains that Darkseid is nearly impossible to destroy as an adult, but as a baby, he wasn't protected. Flash is hesitant, but Constantine uses a spell to force him into action, saying anyone close to Flash will die if he doesn't go. Meanwhile, the Antimatter returns and starts attacking Earth too. The heroes try their best to stop him, but they are wiped out by a huge wave of antimatter. Lois Lane suspects someone is helping the Antimatter and soon figures out it's Lex Luthor. Luthor admits it, saying that even if he didn't make a deal with the Antimatter, the worlds in the bleed would have died anyway because of overpopulation and fewer resources. His plan was to find a way to stop the Antimatter, but he had to make a deal with it. Luthor suggests using Earth AD Ami's world as bait to lure the Antimatter in and learn its weaknesses. Their plan doesn't work, but Luthor believes the Antimatter is weak to light-based attacks. Dr. Light isn't so sure, reminding the group that light attacks haven't worked before. Luthor then suggests using the energy from the 52 suns that came with the worlds into the bleed. He thinks if Superman absorbs all the energy, it might be enough to stop the Antimatter, even though it could kill him. Superman agrees to the plan, even though Lois is upset. Just as Superman is about to absorb the energy, Kara steps in, saying she's stronger since becoming the Harbinger under the Monitor's influence. She insists on taking Superman's place, but he tries to stop her. Before he can, Captain Atom warns them that the Antimatter is back. Superman gathers the heroes to attack a weak spot in the Antimatter's armor so Kara can destroy it from the inside. But their attacks don't work, and they can't break through the armor. Suddenly, Lex Luthor, now under the Antimatter's control, orders the League to shut down the cosmic towers, the only thing keeping them in the bleed. Superman thinks something is wrong and asks Mr. Terrific to disable the towers, even though no one knows what will happen next. As the Antimatter fights back, a powerful strike hits its armor. Turns out to be John Jones and Warworld. They thought Warworld was destroyed, but it was actually moved with the help of Adam Strange and Lobo. Even with Warworld there, they can't break the Antimatter's armor to let Kara destroy it. Superman and John Stewart, with help from John Jones, realize that Warworld is powered by the fear and anger of its prisoners. John corrects Superman, saying any strong emotion could work, not just fear and anger. He then asks the Psycho Pirate for help. The Psycho Pirate's powers can connect everyone across all realities to focus their emotions. Soon, John Stewart is joined by other Green Lanterns that he recruited by sending out rings to find new bearers. As the Antimatter attacks Warworld, John Stewart leads the Green Lanterns to form a protective shield, giving them enough time to channel the combined emotions of all realities into a massive attack. This energy breaks a hole in the Antimatter's armor, allowing Kara to use the power of the 52 suns to destroy him from the inside. Unfortunately, Kara dies in the process. Superman, devastated by the loss of his cousin, holds her lifeless body and mourns her sacrifice. While Superman grieves, Dr. Fate directs everyone's attention to the important information Batman and Constantine uncovered from Constantine's memories. Batman explains that before the multiverse existed, there was only one world. A mistake created parallel Earths, and Darkseid, a powerful conqueror, destroyed this original world. To prevent the collapse of reality, Darkseid was made a fixed point in time. Constantine and Barry Allen tried to stop Darkseid, but their attempt shattered the universe, causing infinite parallel Earths to form. However, this led to an unstable universe on the brink of collapse. Beings like the Antimatter were created to keep this destruction in check. John Jones soon detects multiple energy signals similar to the Antimatters, signaling the arrival of other Antimatters and their armies. These armies quickly destroy worlds with antimatter waves. Batgirl remembers that Kara once spoke of a powerful machine the Legion hid in a pocket dimension. John realizes the machine is hidden between realities, making it almost impossible to reach. Although Adam Strange says he can't access it, Dr. Light suggests that others, like the Psycho Pirate, might be able to help. Lex Luthor claims he isn't fit to help. However, Captain Atom suggests Nightshade might be able to access the machine. Nightshade, unsure of her abilities, teleports herself and John to the space between realities. With John's guidance, Nightshade successfully retrieves the miracle machine and brings it back to Warworld, though it doesn't seem to work. Constantine reveals that the machine can merge all realities into a single universe and timeline, but this will require a sacrifice. Superman refuses to accept this, but Lois convinces him that saving one world, his own, is more important than trying to save every world. The group struggles to activate the machine. Green Lantern attempts to power it, but his energy does nothing. Dr. Fate then reveals that only one thing can create something from nothing: sacrifice. Constantine prepares to offer himself, but nothing happens. Wonder Woman from Earth 2 suggests that someone immortal should make the sacrifice. Superman protests, offering himself instead, but Wonder Woman insists she must do it. She places her lasso on the machine, and to everyone's surprise, it activates. A vision of a unified world appears, and the Spectre confirms that they made the right choice. One by one, the heroes step through the portal, leaving behind their past lives and stepping into an uncertain future, with Warworld being consumed by the Antimatter's wave. As the story concludes, the Spectre reveals that he no longer wishes to be a symbol of vengeance but instead wants to represent hope. Later, a young Wonder Woman is playing on the cliffs of Masera when her mother, Queen Hippolyta, calls out, reminding her to be careful. Diana may be brave, but she is not immortal, and there's still a long life ahead of her. In the end, everything seems to return to normal.